50 Famous Fairy Tales. Tale 12. Tom Thumb. Many years ago, the great magician Merlin, dressed as a beggar, stopped at a peasant's cottage one evening. He was given a hearty welcome, and the wife brought out a pitcher of milk and some fresh bread for him. Although everything was neat and comfortable about the cottage, the peasant and his wife seemed sad. Merlin asked what the trouble was, and learned that the couple were grieving because they had no children. "If we only had a son," the woman said, "even if you were no larger than my husband's thumb, I would be satisfied." The idea of a boy no larger than a man's thumb pleased Merlin. Being a magician, he knew how to manage so that in good time a child no larger than the peasant's thumb was born to the couple. The fairy queen heard of the wee chap and came to see him. She said she would be his godmother and gave him the name of Tom Thumb. Then she sent for her fairies to come and dress the tiny boy. They made him a hat of an oak leaf, a shirt of a spider's web, a jacket of thistledown. His trousers were made of feathers, his stockings of apple peelings, and his shoes were made of a mouse skin with the fur inside. As time went on, Tom did not grow a quarter of an inch in size, but he became cunning and full of tricks. One time, when he was playing a game of cherry stones with some playmates, he lost all his stones in the game. Then he slyly stole into the bag of one of the other boys and was just climbing out with his pocket full of cherry stones when one of the boys saw him. "Aha, Tom, that is where you get your cherry stones," he said. "I'll fix you this time." And he pulled the string of the bag around Tom and shook it so that Tom was quite bruised. One morning after this, Tom's mother was making a pudding. Tom wanted to see just how it was made, and when his mother wasn't looking, he climbed upon the edge of the bowl. Down he slipped and fell into the batter. He tried to call out, but the batter got in his mouth, and he could not say a word. When his mother put the pudding on to boil, Tom jumped so hard that his mother thought that the pudding was bewitched and threw it out the window. A tinker was passing by. He saw the fine pudding and picked it up. He was about to put it in his knapsack when Tom called out loudly. The tinker was so frightened that he threw the pudding over the fence and went off. Tom managed to scramble out of the batter and hurried home as fast as he could. His mother put him in a teacup of soap suds and gave him a good scrubbing, for he was covered with pudding dough. A few days later, Tom's mother took him with her as she went to milk the cow. The wind was blowing, and she feared that Tom might be blown away, so she fastened to a thistle with a piece of thread. The cow, seeing Tom's oak leaf hat, thought it was something good to eat, and took Tom and the thistle in one bite. Tom was afraid of the cow's great teeth, and he called out, "Mother, Mother!" "Where are you, Tom?" his mother called. "I'm here in the cow's mouth," Tom answered. Tom's mother did not know what to do, but the cow, hearing the queer noise in her throat, let Tom drop. Tom's mother caught him in her apron and took him home. Another time, Tom's father made him a whip of straw to help him drive the cattle. One day, when Tom was taking the cattle pasture, he stumbled and fell. A raven saw him and picked him up. He carried Tom far up into the air, and when they were out at sea, the raven let the boy drop. A fish came along and swallowed Tom, but the fish was soon caught and brought to the kitchen of the palace. When the cook cut open the fish, out stepped Tom Thumb. The cook was speechless with amazement, but after she'd got her senses again, she took the wee lad to the king's court, where Tom soon became a favorite. One day the king asked Tom about his parents. On hearing that Tom's father and mother were poor, the king asked him how he would like to go home for a visit and take them some money. Tom was overjoyed with this idea. The king took the boy to his treasury and told him to take as much money as he could carry. Tom took his purse made of a water bubble and put it in a silver 3-penny piece. This was a heavy load, but he managed to take it on his back and started for home. All day and all night and all the next day he traveled. He was terribly tired when he reached home, and his mother hugged and kissed him and put him straight to bed. He rested at home for several days, and then he said that he must return to the court, for the king wanted him. His parents grieved to see him go, but go he must. His mother made a tiny umbrella, and with Tom holding tightly to the handle, she blew him towards the palace. Just as Tom was floating across the yard, the cook was crossing it with a bowl of porridge for the king. Down, down came Tom, and landed right in the center of the porridge with a great splash. The cook was splattered from head to toe with the sticky stuff. She was angry and told the king that Tom had splattered her on purpose. As the king was busy with the other affairs, the cook put Tom in a wire mousetrap and kept him in prison there. A whole week passed before the king asked again for Tom. He pardoned Tom for throwing the porridge about, and once more took him in his favor. The king made Tom a knight, and from that time on he was known as Sir Thomas Thumb. As Tom's clothes had suffered from the pudding batter, the insides of the fish, and the porridge, the king ordered a new suit made for Tom. The fairy tailors came to his aid, and made him a shirt of butterflies' wings, and boots of chicken leather. Then he was given a darning needle to use as a sword, and a nibbling gray mouse for his steed. Nimble gray mouse as a steed. It was quite a sight to see Tom in his new clothes, mounted on his steed, as he went riding with the members of the court. One day, as they were riding past a farmhouse, a cat ran out, and before anyone could stop her, she grabbed the mouse. Tom fought bravely, but the cat would not give up her prey, and Tom was scratched sorely in the struggle. The Queen of Fairyland came by just then and took Tom back to Fairyland for a visit. There he stayed for many years. When he returned to the king's palace, the king ordered a tiny gold chair made so that he could sit at the royal table. He also gave Tom a tiny coach drawn by 6 small mice, and Tom lived happily for many years, and was known far and wide for his bravery and his cunning. The end.